Hi everyone, my name is Betty Janad and I run Cloud Solution Marketing here at VMware. And welcome to the VMware Multi-Cloud Briefing. We're thankful that you joined us today for a short but intense program to help you accelerate your cloud journey. I'm excited to have GfK and Salesforce.com join our program to share their experiences in managing and operating multi-cloud environments with VMware Cloud. And Purnima Padmanabhan, General Manager of VMware Cloud Management Business Unit, will share our vision and strategy for a cloud operating model. Today, our world is increasingly driven through digital interactions, where apps can bring the entire world to our fingertips, connecting people across continents, and fundamentally transforming the way we work, live, and so much more. But this digital economy has caused an explosion of new and different applications that run across many cloud platforms and consume a myriad of unique services. So much so that 80% of CIOs expect to have a distributed cloud model where they build and run apps everywhere, from the data center across multiple public clouds and out to the edge. And the overwhelming majority of organizations are already using 2 or more clouds today. We call this new computing revolution the multi-cloud era. A multi-cloud strategy gives you the flexibility, power, and innovation of every cloud to align the needs of the application and the business to specific capabilities available from different clouds. However, the unintended consequence can be that the proliferation of different stacks, pipelines, management tools, and inconsistencies that lead to exponential complexity, security risks, and rising costs. At our core, VMware has always been in the business of helping our customers deal with heterogeneous and complex environments, preserving choice while simplifying IT so that our customers can accelerate their business. The ability to make disparate systems work together is in our DNA, and we make things that were not designed to work together deliver business value fast. This is what we do. And this ethos is even more relevant today as complexity has crept into every layer of the IT stack and across the clouds. At VMware, we saw this inevitability of a multi-cloud era and have spent the last several years rolling out a constant stream of multi-cloud innovations, culminating in our announcement earlier this year with VMware Cloud, a truly multi-cloud solution that brings choice, speed, and control to the new distributed multi-cloud computing era we now live in. For us, multi-cloud is not an afterthought. We designed VMware Cloud from the get-go to directly address our customers' multi-cloud needs. VMware Cloud is the multi-cloud solution that enables organizations to build, run, and manage every application from VMs to containers consistently across every public cloud, on-premises, and at the edge. VMware Cloud transforms infrastructure with VMware Cloud Foundation, a consistent compute, network, storage, and Kubernetes stack to run apps consistently across all major clouds like AWS, Azure, Google, IBM, Oracle, Alibaba, and across a global network of cloud-verified partners reaching over 10,000 sites available to you worldwide. Our cloud management, powered by vRealize and Cloud Health, deliver an operating model that brings together VMware-based clouds and apps and native public cloud services to simplify the management and governance. And our solution also accelerates app transformation with Tanzu, providing a developer experience that helps organizations build and deploy new, modern applications into market faster than ever before. And while public cloud stacks are vertically integrated, VMware Cloud is horizontally distributed and architected to run on any cloud provider, giving our customers unprecedented choice with a familiar environment for apps and the developers and operators that support them. And while VMware Cloud provides a consistent abstraction layer across cloud platforms, it also directly connects into each cloud, enabling developers to leverage the unique services of each cloud with the VMware Cloud environment, providing both consistency and flexibility to enhance the value of apps in a multi-cloud world. VMware Cloud is a new kind of cloud that runs consistently on all major clouds and in the data center and at the edge, provides a single unified platform for all applications, including microservices and containers, traditional three-tier apps and VMs, packaged ISV apps, data-intensive AI, ML, and high-throughput workloads, serverless functions, and more. And it features unified management for efficiency and optimized total costs while protecting apps and data across clouds. and it enables the ability to leverage and extend the skills and expertise of existing teams into the future. Our customers have been able to accelerate transformation with VMware Cloud, resulting in outcomes like delivering new apps from idea to production in a matter of weeks that were able to immediately start processing thousands and thousands of transactions. Migrating entire data centers to the cloud in record time and at half the cost with the same staff and expertise, and seamlessly extending existing environments to the cloud to recover quickly from any unforeseen disasters, instantly set up remote work environments for employees in response to COVID, and scale up and down at a drop of a hat to meet the changing demands of their business. VMware Cloud gives organizations the flexibility and innovation of every cloud with the simplicity of one. Changing the cloud from a destination to a solution and operating model that spans across clouds. In today's session, we'll focus more on the area of management and what that means in a multi-cloud world. Because when you think about it, management and automation is what turns someone else's server into a cloud, changes the financial equation, and makes it so agile to operate. And when you start to use multiple clouds, you add multiples of these models, one per cloud, specialized for the services and tools of that provider, creating a management challenge that is compounded by the addition of new application architectures that have to run alongside the apps and infrastructure you already have. Transformation is a journey, and we believe a solution must take into account the full breadth of your IT investments and provide them a path forward. VMware Cloud includes vRealize to manage the VMware Cloud Foundation stack and applications wherever it may be running, as well as Cloud Health to manage the consumption of native public cloud services. Together, vRealize and Cloud Health provide a rich set of capabilities targeted at both the infrastructure and operations teams, as well as the Cloud Center of Excellence to aid the people and process transformation to a new cloud operating model by building those practices directly into the technology. Collectively, our customers have been able to just fundamentally go faster, respond faster, increase their overall productivity, decrease unplanned downtime, resulting in better availability, and improve security overall and reduce their total costs. But let's take a moment to hear about these experiences firsthand. In this next segment, it's my pleasure to introduce Ismar Efendic of GfK and Jenna Gegg of Salesforce, and highlight to you our conversations on how cloud management has been key to their multi-cloud success. Ismar, thanks for joining us today.
Welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So who is GfK and what do they do?
GfK is on the market for more than 85 years. So we are a quite important player in the data intelligence and the data analytics industry. So we do a lot of data crunching, a lot of data insights and so on. So with that long years of experience in that industry, we combine data and science, and we help our customers to make the right business decisions.
Your journey to cloud, to take advantage of all of these new combination of technologies out there. What prompted your team to look out for that?
The GfK doesn't actually can go on the market and get the off-the-shelf products to do what we are doing. So that being said, we have a lot of, or not a lot of, all of it is our own developed software, tooling, the data processing. And really in order to be faster, to crunch data faster, to deliver our customers faster data and different kind of reporting, we really needed to expand our on-prem, so let's say hostings and so on, to more into the public cloud.
Great. So it sounds like you wanted to be able to bring new apps to market faster, get the scale across the hybrid cloud, and then be able to take advantage of specific technologies and capabilities that already exist instead of spending that time to build it yourself. Tell me a little bit more about those apps.
The core of the app or of the data processing is developed by us. Then we reach out to different services. We need to be unbiased. So that's why we actually are expanding in different cloud providers. So with the VMC, with the GVME as well, combining with some of our on-premises solutions. Really, it's trying to get the best out, what is out there for our need, so that we can be the fastest and the best in what we are doing.
So this truly is a hybrid and multi kind of app and cloud and architecture model. right?
It's there. So we are everywhere. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, you're building everywhere and you're running everywhere. And if I heard you correctly, you have a footprint on premises, you have VMware Cloud on AWS, and then you said you also have, from a VMware perspective, you've tried out the Google VMware engine and then all the native services as well, and how did kind of expanding out into this like kind of hybrid and multi-cloud and app world impact your overall IT operations?
So that is really a good point, and it was I'm quite sure with many of us a big challenge as well, is how to bring that a lot of different technologies, a lot of different providers of that technologies under the let's say single use. So that on the end side where the consumers are using that don't see a big difference. And we are using the Realize Automation Suite for some time already, so we are quite along with that product, and for us it actually helped us a lot to scale and to expand into this hybrid multi-cloud model, because we were able to large extent bridge this gap of having different interfaces from different providers, but actually providing the same experience with the, again, note, it doesn't matter where it runs when it comes from the infrastructure point of view.
Can you tell us a little bit more about like some of the work that you did within vRealize and how you were able to extend that, as you went out into public cloud?
Sure. I mean, we started with the vRealize, or as we like to call it, VRA. We started for probably like 8 years already that we are using that. So we are really early adopters of that solution from the VMware. And of course, we started with the private cloud. Why? Because at that time we were heavy on-prem or exclusively on-prem hosted systems. But we already recognized at that time we need to gain some automation. We need to run more services or offer more as a services type of things. And at that time we were anyhow the big VMware shop. So it was a kind of natural move, I would say, to try out. And 8 years we are still there and expanding and growing. And that is really a great experience. But what we really benefit the most of it is that interface or that single point of access to the users, and that we could leverage that catalog items. And now with the hybrid cloud, it felt that we are just adding a new data center to some extent. So it was really relatively easy to connect VMware and AWS or Google VMware Engine as well. And more on top of that, to bring those native services. Not all of them, but at least the ones that we use most of it through the same portal.
That's pretty amazing. So for your customers internally, they basically have one catalog, like one storefront that they're going to that your teams maintain. And they're going to pick from this huge, like this really big library of different services. And to them, it doesn't matter what's really powering it, how it's getting done behind the scenes.
Correct. I mean, you are a point on that one. So it is exactly like that. They have, of course, the understanding where will be deployed, because in some cases performance, latency and so on, they want to keep things on one maybe place, not on all places. So they have that awareness and they can simply just choose from a drop-down menu. Of course, we are supporting a lot the more SRE communities, that they can run that through their codes, really like that UI experience as well as the infrastructure as a code experience as well.
Now, what happens once people, instantiate their service and then deploy? How does your team operate that over time? And what are the tools and processes that have put in place to make that, efficient?
We are trying to foster more this shift left mentality. So it's not just a place where they can spin off or deploy their services or servers and so on. They get a range of day 2 activities that enables them to follow their systems throughout the entire life cycle, from starting to the decommissioning phase to changing and adopting. So we encourage more of that, and we try to make those services as easy, as accessible as possible. In some cases where it's more complex system, there we have a dedicated teams that can support on the operational side as well. We go more with the self-serviceable approach, and my guys are responsible then for the backend, making sure that it's on the best, latest version, patched, secured, governed, that's the model that we are trying to live up to.
So you all are effectively operating like a cloud provider yourself.
So, I mean, the vRealize automation is definitely at the top of it. Of course, with the vRealize orchestrator, which is the brain of the entire operations, if you want to call it like that. Then we benefit from a few other tools from VMware and some other configuration management tools that support us, for example, like VROps, that help us to expose some of the basic metrics, which allows then the user to see if their machines is overutilized, underutilized. If they have some issues, they can at least by themselves first see if they have some CPU peaks or memory peaks and so on. Then we make sure that there's a proper CMDB integration.
From a governance model, does your team kind of check in on them if they start to have really poor utilization or performance?
We have some normally alerting, especially for the overutilized, the guys that are going more into the red, because that impacts the other as well users on the environment. So we definitely keep an eye on that, the active and proactive monitoring. We are trying to advise in some cases where we see it's not right size as well. And yeah, the guys are definitely taking care of that part.
Yeah, I guess you're right on. From a compute resource perspective, it's either you're using too much or you're not using enough from what you asked for, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to find a golden middle.
How does this then marry with the use of the public cloud?
So when we are providing through the ITS, or IT services, that's the acronym ITS stands for, the public cloud services, we want to think that the public services shouldn't have any special treatment. So we really provide the same operations or the governance model around it. And that means that security is the same, or the security policy behind it is the same. The same good configuration or architecture follows that as well. So with these picked public services or public cloud services that we offer, they go through that same regime. And then when the users are using that, they can know it's always the same at the end.
This is great that you're able to kind of apply those principles across this environment. So it's, in many ways, it's also a consistent experience, service experience for your end users.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an important aspect. So it's the experience, but it's also a stability. And again, a security, which for us is a quite important aspect. Of course, in a data-driven business, you need to make sure that your data is secure. So all of that drives the right behavior at the end, and allows us as well to reach out into some public cloud services, which we benefit out of just using it as they are given there.
You know, along this journey that you all have been on for almost a decade here, what are some of the outcomes that you've experienced as an organization by leveraging hybrid cloud and public cloud and applying these cloud management practices?
We definitely notice that definitely scaling is a winner when it comes to the hybrid multi-cloud model. So going through the entire procurement process, rack and stacking and all of that good stuff that happens in a data center, that's all good and fine, but that requires a time. And in the current time of the business, the time is critical, right? And with that being said, being able just to add that additional host for additional, I don't know, 20, 50 virtual machines or containers or and so on, is really a crucial thing that we can add, even if it's for a period of time to bridge the procurement period. Maybe it makes sense more that we keep that on-prem, or if it's purely for the public cloud, then we keep it there as an extended resource. I really wanted to mention the other really important use case that we are now reaching out is the DR, or the disaster recovery capabilities, because we have those capabilities and we want to see how we can enrich them and expand them more really with this hybrid multi-cloud. So that gives us some more insurance that in some disaster situations that we can recover even faster and more resilient then.
So if I heard you correctly, scale, speed, flexibility, and then being able to have a better disaster recovery, disaster response. So what's next for the GfK team on the cloud journey?
So what's next? There's never end to a development and to improvement. We continue to improving the services. We are tuning or doing those fine tunings on the running services, and we definitely want to add more of those services. We want to have that catalog that is nice and shiny, and this DR is something that we are really now want to take onto the next level and see how the hybrid multi-cloud approach can help us more.
Awesome. And just to wrap this up as a closing thought, any piece of advice you have for other organizations who are just kind of starting out on this journey?
Be consistent. I would definitely say that. It's good to explore. So there's definitely other opinions or other approaches that makes more sense. But stick to the decision as you don't want to separate and make public cloud is special. On-prem has, again, special rules and so on. And once you start treating that as a one ecosystem, you will definitely be successful.
That's really interesting. Be consistent. You're going to use all of these things, but think about them as one big set of tools in the toolbox, right? Instead of all these separate little islands. Thank you so much, Ismar, for joining us. It was really great to have you talk and share the story, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Welcome. Thanks for having me here.
I'm really excited to have Jenna Gegg from Salesforce. She's a public cloud cost manager. I'm really excited to talk about what's going on at Salesforce from their cloud journey and how they're working with cloud management tools to optimize their cloud operations. Tell us a little bit about how the cloud journey started at Salesforce.
I actually joined Salesforce via the Tableau acquisition. I joined Tableau about 2 years ago, really focused on their public cloud journey and public cloud cost efforts. And so then through the acquisition of Tableau by Salesforce, have joined the Salesforce family, and more recently have taken on a broader focus of public cloud cost across Salesforce, so expanding beyond Tableau to the broader company.
You were brought in at the beginning of Tableau's cloud journey. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, what was Tableau looking to do at that time?
Historically, Tableau wasn't as big in the kind of SaaS offering, more perpetual license of Tableau server and desktop. And then they came out with, the concept of Tableau Online, which over time was moved from kind of on-prem data centers to being hosted in the cloud. And that was around the time that I was brought in to focus on cost, public cloud cost at Tableau, as I had experience in that area. I joined as they were working on doing some of those really large migrations, not only for customer kind of related infrastructure, but also, the internal infrastructure, all the development pieces. And so the problem that they were really facing was this is a whole new world. Prior, very used to if someone wanted to request infrastructure, it goes through kind of that standard process through IT, gets the approvals, the purchase order, all of those things. And the public cloud operates very differently. So it was really important for Tableau to make sure they had a handle on the visibility of that spend, and also being able to report that back to different departments and provide that cost visibility.
Yeah, that's great that they kind of had the foresight to do some of that deeper analysis up front and build that practice right from the get-go.
Yeah, I think that is definitely something that companies learn usually a little after the fact once those bills start becoming larger and larger.
How did that kind of multi-public cloud start?
Salesforce has made a number of acquisitions over the years. Primarily, that's where you start to see different clouds come into the portfolio. And then Salesforce is a little more focused now on bringing, their core products to the public cloud. And that's where we're also seeing where we're offering the same products across multiple clouds. But the first kind of view into that was definitely through acquisitions, using different public cloud providers. And the really powerful thing is Cloud Health, brings that all together in a unified view. Something that we definitely couldn't do easily internally and quickly to keep things moving as the business is continuing to evolve and change, and as we're trying to integrate those mergers and acquisitions into the portfolio.
So then tell me a little bit about how you were using Cloud Health from the capability standpoint to get that picture.
I could kind of start with Tableau. When I came on board there, the budget was all held centrally by IT, but IT was a very small user of the actual public cloud. Tools like Cloud Health then can enable you to provide that visibility and start allocating those costs back, or being able to either show them back or charge them back to the individual teams and groups who are actually consuming the services. Second to that focus, once we have a handle on that, is really where I shifted kind of gears to focusing on how do we optimize our cost, whether that's commitment-based approach that we make, and then also from kind of a governance resource level optimization. And so that's definitely something that we look to Cloud Health to leverage recommendations engines for this type of commitments, as well as opportunities for underutilized resources and kind of right sizing and optimizing there.
It sounds like what Cloud Health allowed you to do is like kind of give ownership in many ways to the application teams, but you were able to then get a holistic view so that you can do like better negotiating on rates or finding the right size instance to get the best value.
Prior to having a good tool in place, or even if you think about, being on-prem, those application teams didn't really have that insight. We didn't have a tool to bring that. So then as we were leveraging Cloud Health, as we're moving to the cloud, it helps to give that visibility to teams and also start to have them be accountable for that spend and plan for their spend.
So now that the visibility is there, and then you have an objective data source, what is the cycles that you have with those teams?
On an annual basis, we definitely partner closely with finance, who partners closely with their business partners to come up what the plans are for the years, a budget in place, and then we have one of those monthly checkpoints with finance and with the business on where spend is heading, and being able to get feedback from them on what's changing, what's happening that we expected or didn't expect, to kind of keep a constant conversation going around so that everyone knows what's going on, and that we continue to make decisions, whether it's around commitments where we can make sure that we're getting the best price for the utilization that we're having in the cloud, being able to support those teams.
That's very cool. So tell me, what's next?
Like I said, my focus is on resource level optimization. So, I'm all about leveraging the different metrics that are available in Cloud Health and the policies that you can set up to identify those opportunities, and getting that information back to the teams. And then really the biggest challenge will be, how do we scale that, across the organization?
Yeah, helping people make sure they're using all the stuff that they have, right? Or right sizing. You've been using Cloud Health and doing cost optimization across a few different companies now, so you have quite a lot of experience here. As other organizations are, just starting in the cloud or maybe starting to go to their second cloud, what advice do you have?
If I kind of think of that evolution, definitely the first stop is visibility. If you don't have a tool in place and you have presence in multiple clouds, gathering that data and getting a picture of it, that's going to take a lot of time and effort. Your spend is changing every day. So I think that's really the power of having a cloud management platform in place as there, and having that visibility enables you to start having conversations and making sure that the right teams are engaged, have visibility into their cloud operations. And then from there, I think, is where you can start making sure that you're utilizing and getting kind of the most for your money. So, different clouds offer different commitment-based savings is a way you can make a really big impact if your focus is, on the cost component. And then digging into the details a bit more, resource level optimization. I think it's definitely a journey that happens over time.
So it sounds like what I hear from you is invest in tools early. So that you can have good visibility, so that you can have honest conversations that are objective. And then that way the discussions around tuning, adjustments can really be made from a source of data. And then you can kind of monitor those together with your stakeholders over time.
Absolutely.
Well, this sounds great. Thank you, Jenna, so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Wow. I always love just spending time with our customers to see what they're doing. It was great spending time with both Jenna and Ismar to learn about their respective multi-cloud journeys. And while their companies, apps, infrastructure, and even cloud services that they use were so very different, their approach to managing and operating across clouds was quite consistent. Ismar's journey went from the data center, extending out to hybrid cloud, and then integrating in native public cloud services into one experience that is simple and fast for his internal customer. And Jenna's journey started from day zero to build in the business and cost planning as a discipline even before that first workload was ever migrated. And now they're able to move to a mode of continuous optimization across clouds and across teams. And in both instances, they have shifted left, giving their customers direct access to build, deploy, and run wherever they choose. And in using VMware Cloud's vRealize and Cloud Health, provide a common set of tools to enable these teams to, one, better understand what's happening, optimize what's running, and better plan together for future deployments. These are great examples of how two organizations have evolved to a cloud center of excellence model in a multi-cloud world. And now, we have our very own Purnima Padmanabhan, General Manager of VMware Cloud Management Business Unit, to talk about our vision and strategy for a cloud operating model.
Thanks, Betty, for the introduction. So as you heard Betty interviewing customers, GfK and Salesforce.com, both of them have done a remarkable transformation leveraging cloud technologies. Now, it's interesting to note in this new world, post-pandemic world where there is so much turbulence and so much change, it is not the strongest or the biggest that survive, but it is, true to Darwinian theory, the ones that are the most adaptable, the ones that are the most agile that survive. And these are the ones who have the business agility to capitalize on a new opportunity when it shows up, to capitalize on changes in the market. And today, business agility is truly driven by software agility or application agility. Being able to quickly get all your employees to work from home. Being able to deploy that new app that allows someone to do export-import forms in a remote way. Being able to do Zoom-based telemedicine. All these are examples of transformations that have happened just in the last year, but were powered by very strong applications and quick delivery of applications. So let us look at the tools, the processes, and the technologies that companies use in order to leverage the power of cloud to deliver that app agility. And that's what we call the cloud operating model. Now, when you think about the operating model, it is truly anchored at the top level by your application strategy. And when you think about applications, you have a spectrum of those applications. You have existing applications. You may have applications that you want to transform to be able to scale, to be able to geolocate them close to your customers. And you have applications that you're building new, maybe leveraging native container services and PaaS, platform services, and native public cloud services. And so the strategies that you choose for your applications depends on the type of application and depends on the business priority. You may choose to retain and optimize existing applications. You can rehost current applications in other platforms, potentially maybe to scale them out or to make them available closer to your customers, make them more performant. You can re-platform these applications, containerize them so that they are easier to manage and update. You can totally rebuild and refactor applications or even build new ones so that they are truly based on microservices principles, that they take the advantages of PaaS services that are available at customers. And finally, you have applications that you may decide to just retire, and you may completely go with a SaaS-based application. Now, irrespective of what application you choose, ultimately, the lines of businesses, the developers who are driving the application strategy and who are building these applications need to also build it on platforms. Whether it is native public cloud platforms, whether it is different kinds of application platforms, they choose the platform. Now, if it is a native public cloud, for developers, it truly gives freedom. You can have your infrastructure as a service, container as a service, different platform services, all available for direct consumption as a developer. And you can start building your applications. And the nice thing is you also have the APIs to drive the performance, cost, security, and even the delivery of these applications, the templating of these applications. Of course, each one of these clouds that you deploy to has their own set of toolings and their own set of processes and their own set of skills that need to be hired. But you are able to start consumption right away. And that is the true power that native public clouds give. Now, you also have infrastructure that is out there in the edge in your retail locations, in your data center, in your managed data center. There is large amounts of data that you have collected, which we call data gravity, over the years, that you want to, let us say, do AI ML on. Now, this infrastructure and these applications may be sitting distributed across various locations. But the question is, why wouldn't you want a similar experience, just like the native public cloud, on this private infrastructure also? A lot of times it is based on VMware vSphere. You've got native applications. And imagine we could give you the ability to build the cloud-like capability on top of this infrastructure. So that is the first component of the cloud operating model. Truly think of everything as cloud and make sure you have a common consumption service available. And now with VMware Cloud, we also offer these capabilities across AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, and thousands of vCloud provider partners. The idea is that you've got this VMware-based infrastructure available on tap anywhere. And then when you combine that with the vRealize platform, as well as the Tanzu platform, you can truly curate an IaaS, PaaS, and CaaS, which is container as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service set of capabilities. And now you can consume VMware Cloud just like any other cloud. You're able to manage the performance, the cost, the security, and the delivery automation across VMware Cloud. So nice thing is you have now a cloud-based environment. You have truly freed the developers from having to wait on different other teams, wait on IT, and you have given them a set of services that they can develop very fast to. But now there is a new problem that has surfaced, which is you have all these islands of clouds. How do you make sure that you know that these are all secure? How do you ensure that the security policy that is applied to one applies to the other clouds? How do you know whether your costs are under control? And how do you even know what is the most optimal place to put an application based on the cost structure of these individual clouds? How do you do automation of delivery? And how do you do late binding decisions on how to scale and size these applications? And how do you measure the performance across all these environments and deliver the connectivity and the traffic and the network characteristics are maintained? These are hard problems and new problems and challenges that come across when you have multiple clouds. And most customers that we talk to, including the ones that Betty spoke to, usually have one plus something. Usually they have an on-prem cloud infrastructure along with a bunch of public clouds. And that is where the second tenet of our operating model comes in. You need a set of capabilities, both from a process perspective, but also from a best practices perspective, that allows you to manage across these clouds. And that is where and what you need to manage still stays the same. You need to manage your cost, your security. You have to make sure you can truly deliver on the health and performance of your application. And you also need to make sure you truly are able to automate all the mundane out. You have clean pipelines. You have ability to templatize your applications. You have the ability to make late binding decisions. And you have the ability to do day-to automation. So the set of capabilities stay the same, but they have to apply consistently across multiple clouds. And that is where, with a combination of properties that we have or assets that we have. With Cloud Health, we are able to deliver consistent cost and security across all your public cloud environments. You can not only understand your costs from a visibility perspective, you can optimize your costs and automate the policies around future governance and future consumption. Similarly, from a security perspective, you can understand how applications are communicating to each other. What is the access they have to the internet? There is no more firewall based data center out there. So you truly have to think about communications at a global scale. And when you think about security, it has to scale and it has to be at the speed of the change that is happening in this public cloud and containerized environment. With vRealize and Tanzu, you can have now a common infrastructure as service, a common templating mechanism to define your application once and deploy it anywhere, and a consistent container runtime across all environments, across all clouds, and a consistent container management capability that applies even to AKS, EKS, and the native container services. So the combination of these solutions truly allow you to, again, have consistent cost, security, performance, and automation across all these environments. So this 1 and 1 plus 2 is what we call the cloud operating model. Now, if you look at what GfK did, they started their journey with Build a Cloud. They built a consistent cloud consumption surface with a catalog, governance policies, and consistent automation on their vSphere-based infrastructure. And then as they added the new native public clouds, it was very easy for them to transition those set of capabilities to manage across multiple clouds. With Tableau and Salesforce.com, they started with a whole bunch of native public clouds. And as they acquired more companies and as they added more clouds, they were very easily able to scale the core cloud health infrastructure from one cloud to multiple clouds to ultimately, again, drive that optimization and decision making. So the cloud operating model, when done right, can truly light up the fire in terms of app agility and help you bring those business ideas to life much faster. And it also, in parallel, allows you to truly drive much higher productivity and speed, as we talked about. But it's interesting, with speed, we also can drive down the unplanned downtime, the unwanted overages on software costs, the reduction in cloud spend, the reduction in security violations. So while you're improving agility, you're also improving overall your operational metrics. So again, a cloud operating model, when done right, can truly deliver that app agility that will allow you to make your business ideas come to life. Thank you.
Thanks, Pratima. That was so very informative. It has been an exciting journey into multi-cloud at VMware with our VMware Cloud solution. Our engineers are continuously innovating on new capabilities and services for cloud infrastructure, management, and application development, and expanding the availability of those functionality across more clouds and more regions. These enhancements continue our mission to provide customers with the speed they need to deliver new apps to market and migrate apps to the cloud faster. The choice to use every cloud and service to build great apps and run them anywhere. And an operating model to bring all of this together efficiently, securely, and at lower total costs across every app and every cloud. I am so very excited about what our customers are doing with VMware Cloud and can't wait to share more of those stories with you. Thanks so much for joining us today, and I'll see you in the cloud.